So yesterday I gave you my review of Christopher Nolan's latest movie, Tenet, and today we're going to stop and rank all of Christopher Nolan's movies from the least best to the best. So starting off in 11th place we have the following. Now by no means is this a bad movie at all. It's still a really good movie, still a Christopher Nolan movie, still a movie that you can sit down and enjoy. Some of the flaws with it, I think, is he kind of had to work on a lower budget than he's normally used to, which obviously doesn't matter to him. He's a good storyteller and he can still make a good movie. But the runtime is right around an hour, so you aren't really able to see a fleshed out story. And I just kind of think that even though this isn't a weak film at all, it's not his best. So coming in next at number 10, we have The Dark Knight Rises. Now, The Dark Knight Rises is really difficult for me to place because I love so many things about the movie, and the Dark Knight trilogy is my favorite trilogy in movie history. But this movie is really hard to rank on Christopher Nolan's list because there's so many movies that are better than The Dark Knight Rises. Something that I had a problem with The Dark Knight Rises is just how many things were going on at the same time. It seemed a little too cluttered. And then I kind of had a problem with how he did Batman. You kind of only got to see Batman for probably about half the movie. The other time was, you saw Bruce Wayne in the cave, and he spent 45 minutes in the cave, and then at the beginning of the movie, he was, in the beginning of the movie, he was holed up in the mansion. So I didn't really think we got to see enough Batman. Now Bane, I think Tom Hardy did a really good job playing Bane, and I loved his version of Bane. I know he catches some hate because of his voice, but I think he did a great job. I think it's a great villain. So Dark Knight Rises comes in at number 10. At number 9, I'm going to have to go with The Following. The Following is interesting because it's not written by Christopher Nolan. He doesn't get the writing credit for it because it's not his original story, but he was able to make a movie with somebody else's script that still had that Nolan feel to it. Al Pacino and Robin Williams did a really good job in the film. It's a really interesting film. I think that there's a lot of good things about it, and even though he didn't write it, he still was able to create a good movie. Coming in at number 8, I'm going to have to go with Tenet. Like I said in my review, I didn't think that it was a bad movie at all. I enjoyed it quite a bit. There were still some frustrating things in it that I found, but I don't think that it's at all a bad movie. It might be higher on my list the more I watch it, I don't know. Like I said yesterday, I've only seen the movie one time, so it could climb, it could fall, who knows. But like I said again yesterday, there's a lot of people that I trust who say that it is a lot better the second time they watch it. So it might climb, it might drop, we'll just have to wait and see. Coming in at number 7, we have Batman Begins. Now, I love the Batman trilogy. I love the Dark Knight trilogy. I think that I have seen Batman Begins probably more than any of the other ones. I don't know. I've probably seen the Dark Knight more times, but I have watched Batman Begins quite a bit. The reason I like this movie so much is I think that it is the right origin story for Batman. I think in the past they've tried to rehash the origin story for Batman and for Bruce Wayne so many times, and it's just kind of been something redundant. You see the same thing every time. And while this did hold the same premise about his parents dying coming out of the theater, I like the spin on it that Nolan put with it being an opera and Bruce's fear being the reason that they had to leave the opera. Nolan's movies are always relatable in some way, and they always have life lessons. And I think the main lesson in Batman Begins is fear. So with Bruce's fear being the reason that they had to leave the opera, which led to his parents getting killed. I think that was really something good that he put on his version of Batman's origin story. I also love the Ra's al Ghul character played by Liam Neeson. I think that was really well done. I just think there's a lot of good things in this movie. You've probably heard it before, but the bat suit kind of bothers me. I mean, when he's trying to look a different way, he can't just turn his neck. He has to turn his entire body. I don't know, but that's something that bothers me about it. I think that I'm glad they fixed it in The Dark Knight, but coming in at number 7 is Batman Begins. At number 6, I'm gonna have to go with Memento, and I absolutely love Memento. I think that it was just incredibly done. The concept was incredible. There's nothing like this movie. It was something that, I wasn't born yet when it came out, but I remember the first time watching it, I just was so amazed at how he told this story. Because there's interviews and behind the scenes clips with him where he says, if you tell this story chronologically, it's not going to be a good story. And that's the truth. If you told this story from start to finish in chronological order, it really wouldn't be that compelling of a story. But since it's told in reverse order, and you've got these scenes that intercut, it just makes it really compelling, because you kind of feel like you're in the same shoes as Leonard, and you really kind of feel like you have that memory loss because you don't know what happened before. So I really like that. I really think that he did a really good job with it. It's a movie that I could watch over and over again and never get bored of. Even when you do know the twist at the end and you do know the outcome, it's still one that is just continually rewatchable. So coming in at number 5, we have The Prestige. The Prestige is a movie that the first time I watched it, I was absolutely blown away. I didn't see the twist coming at the end. I actually didn't see a lot of things that were coming in the movie, but the twist being the biggest one that I didn't see coming. I think over time it's held up really well. It's a wonderful sci-fi movie. It has 2 amazing actors in Hugh Jackman and Christian Bale. They play their parts perfectly, and I just really love everything about this movie. I forgot to say, but from here up, this whole top 5 are just, in my opinion, flawless. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of these movies, and I love every one of them. Coming in at number 4, we have Interstellar, and Interstellar is one of the most beautiful movies that I've ever seen. The cinematography is incredible. He said that most of the shots and most of the scenes were filmed practically, and that's something that if you're a Nolan fan, you know that he doesn't like to do CGI. He likes to film practical effects and have real sets, which, in my opinion, make a movie better because it feels more real and it feels like you're part of it more. So the cinematography in Interstellar is just phenomenal. There's nothing like it. It's an incredible character study for the character of Cooper, played by Matthew McConaughey. Bran, played by Anne Hathaway, is a really nice side character. Jessica Chastain does a really good job playing Cooper's daughter. And then the relationship between Cooper and Murph is just a really nice center for the film, because if you really think about it, the whole movie revolves around their relationship, and I think that it's just really well done. It's a really well story. There's some great scenes. Hans Zimmer's score is, in my opinion, his best score. I think it's phenomenal, and I could watch this movie any day of the week. Coming in at number 3, we have Dunkirk. And Dunkirk, for some reason, and now I'm just going off IMDb, I don't know what the audience score is on Rotten Tomatoes or anything, but on IMDb, Dunkirk has a 7.9, which is a great rating. I think like a 6.5 is average, so it's way above average, and anything above a 7.5 is normally classified as a great movie. But I was really surprised to see that it got as low as a 7.9 because it is so technically and fundamentally perfect. You cannot find a problem in Dunkirk with the technicality and the fundamentals of it. From a filmmaking standpoint, it's flawless. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Kind of like Tenet, it doesn't focus on a character or characters, but instead focuses on the story, which I think is a good idea in this movie, because the whole point of Dunkirk was not about one person. It was about this whole group of people that were trapped on this beach, basically just sitting ducks, waiting to be killed. So I thought by him not focusing on the characters and focusing more on the story was a really good job in his part. And throughout the entire movie, you feel like you're on that beach, or you feel like you're on the boat, or you feel like you're flying a plane beside Tom Hardy. So just what he did with Dunkirk was incredible. It's probably my favorite war movie. I like a lot of war movies, but this is probably my favorite one. And I could rewatch this like Interstellar any day of the week. Also, Hans Zimmer's score in this one is just phenomenal too. I don't know if his second best score, in my opinion, is this or Inception. I think this might have an overall better score than Inception does, but there's a few tracks in Inception that are just some of Hans Zimmer's best work. Saying that, bringing us into the number 2 slot is Inception. Inception, I think, is just a masterpiece. I think it is so well done. The characters are so well written. You're able to connect and relate to all of the characters. Everybody has something that they struggle with and something that they're good at. It's a phenomenal movie. It's a phenomenal team movie, because if you take a movie like Memento, it's just the journey of one character. He kind of works alone. He doesn't really have anybody to help him, but this is a team movie. It's a great movie. I love the climax. I love the end. The ending is my favorite part of the movie, when he walks into the house and he sees his kids, and you see the top spinning, and it's spinning and spinning, and then you're in suspense that whole time, wondering, is he in a dream or is this reality? And then the camera cuts, and that's the last thing you see is the top spinning. And even though it's open-ended, it's still satisfying, because it doesn't matter which side of the spectrum that you're on. Whether you think he's in a dream or whether you think he's in reality, you can make an argument for both sides. So I guess I'll go ahead and state my opinion. I think he's in reality, because if you see at the end of the shot, the top starts to wobble. So in my opinion, he's in reality. But if you have another opinion, if you think he's in a dream, it's perfectly fine, and you can make a good argument to back that up. But coming in at the number 1 spot has got to be The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is my favorite movie of all time. I think that it is the best movie that Nolan has ever written. I think it has the best character that Nolan has ever written in the Joker, and partially because of Heath Ledger's performance. He rightfully won the Oscar for supporting actor. So I just think that the Joker, even though he's a villain, he's just a compelling villain, because he's not like anybody else. He's not looking for money. He's not looking for power. He's just trying to prove that you can take anybody you want, the best person you know, put them on a pedestal, and they can fall. So I just think that his motives are really different. I think that he's really well written. I love the ending. I get goosebumps every time I watch the movie at the ending, when Gordon is talking, and you see Batman going off, trying to get away. it gives me goosebumps every time, because even though Batman is put in this spot, he's doing this because he has to. He's saving somebody that had turned into a bad person. He's saving their legacy, and he's taking the fall for it. And Batman's my favorite superhero, so seeing him give up his own life for somebody else is just, I think that's what a superhero or any hero should do. And I also think that the theme of the entire Dark Knight trilogy, which is really touched on the most in The Dark Knight Rises, I forgot to mention this, but the theme throughout the whole trilogy, all three movies, is that a hero can be anybody. And I love that because it's so true. Batman doesn't have any superpowers. He doesn't, I mean, he's got a lot of money, but he's just like anybody else, honestly. And the point of the trilogy is that anybody can be that hero. Anybody can do what he's doing. And I love that. It's really inspirational, and it's really good to think about that it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you come from, you can be a hero. So that's my ranking for all of Christopher Nolan's movies. There's not a bad movie on this list, honestly. Like I said at the beginning, it's from the least best to the best, so let me hear your rankings down in the comments. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe. I'm trying to get this channel kicked off the ground, so keep tuning in if you want to see more things discussed about movies, and just keep watching movies.